The events of the recent weeks have made me ask a question I hoped I never would. Can we actually win the Second Galactic War, or are we just going to slowly lose until there is nothing left to fight for? Well, this may seem treasonous to talk about. I think it is time we discuss what happens if we don't outright win the Second Galactic War. First off, we still can win the war outright. However, this would take some serious luck, massive tactical blunders on the part of our three enemies, as well as some serious technical innovations, as we do not have the power to take back as many planets as we need. While it is definitely still possible, I find it pretty unlikely. We had the war won all those months ago when the automatons had been removed from Super Earth space and the Terminids had been contained to only a handful of planets. Unfortunately, our enemy did not see that they had been beaten and went on the offensive, with the automatons now having 30 planets under their control. 30 planets. They didn't have any. And the Terminids having 35 planets under their control. They had 4, I think, and we were controlling them. It looks like the Illuminate may also start conquering worlds, as they currently have possession of 3 of them, although they are losing those at the moment, but there could take more in the coming days, as they are conquering planets in the south of the galactic map. If they start holding planets and slowly advancing towards Super Earth, then it is only a matter of time before they attack Super Earth once again. So, what can we do? First outcome is the worst. We lose absolutely everything. Now, I don't want this to happen, and I don't think anyone else does, but this is a possibility that we have to think about. All at once, all 3 enemy factions would launch a massive attack. Or, I guess, different attacks, as, that's kind of how they work. Now, they'd be taking planet after planet and slowly close in on Super Earth until there is nothing left, effectively wiping out the human race. Now, this is the worst situation possible, as there will be nothing left of humanity, killing every man, woman, and child in the entirety of the Super Earth Federation. But, it is possible that this happens, unfortunately. So, we do have to worry about that. Now, will this happen? I don't know. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to try and prevent it, as we do not want that to happen. Now, the factions, if they were to all attack at the same time, it would probably not be a, quote, coordinated attack, as what would probably happen is all the factions would attack after one of them would have a massive offensive. So, let's say the bots decide that they want to try and take like 4 planets at once. So then the Helldivers and Super Earth are focused on the bots a lot. So then at the same time, the bots and the bugs, the Illuminate and the bugs would see this, and they would also start pressing planets. Now, this is really bad, because then all of a sudden you have like 15 planets being taken at once, and the Helldivers are spread very thin, while the enemy is not as thin as they'll still be thin, but not as thin as the Helldivers. Now, yes, we can prevent some, but a lot of the planets we wouldn't be able to save just because we don't have the numbers. And it would just be a little too chaotic, and there's too many enemies to fight. Now, again, we would become powerless to stop their advance to Super Earth, so that would not be good. Now, another outcome is we sign some sort of peace treaty with the factions, at least the Illuminate and the automatons, as I'm not sure what we would sign with the bugs. Maybe we come up with some disease or something. Now, this is not an outcome I want. This is the last thing I would like to do, is sign a treaty. However, when it comes to the survival of humanity, we may have to make choices we don't like, and one of those would be a treaty. Now, the victory for the Second Galactic War is getting close to out of reach for us, as there's too many fronts to fight on, and there are too many enemies at our door. Now, maybe the Helldivers can prove me wrong, and I look like an idiot for making this video, or maybe not. That is simply the way of things. Now, of course, with another outcome would be we just basically hold on. The other factions, they don't really sign a treaty, but they just stop. They just don't move on us anymore, and they just are for some reason content. Now, I find this one unlikely because, well, I don't think our enemies will ever be content until they've crushed us and possibly the other factions. Which leads me to another possibility. The factions have never fought each other. The Illuminate, the Automatons, and the Terminites have never faced each other on the battlefield. So what's to say if we don't encourage the fighting of different factions, maybe they can start taking themselves out instead of us, giving us a huge opening to maybe sweep in and third party them, clean up the garbage, and get rid of the enemies all at once. Now, while this would be really interesting and could lead to some really interesting missions where you're fighting like all three factions on one map, as that would be hectic, I don't see this happening, as they're separate enough and they're more pushing towards Super Earth and not really towards each other. Which is unfortunate, because it would be really cool if they were fighting each other, but again, I don't think that will happen. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, then hit that like button and subscribe, as that would mean a lot to me and I would really appreciate it. And leave a comment too about your opinions on this, and if I'm just completely wrong about it, or maybe if there is some truth behind that and we do have to worry about defeat in the Second Galactic War. Now, with that being said, remember, Helldivers, for Super Earth and managed democracy, I'll see you next time.